Hi, Heartroom friends. Today we are doing our narrative writing lesson number 4, and we're going to talk all about stretching out our words to spell them. So I've been watching you guys reread your stories on Friday when we get to share our stories together. And sometimes it's hard to read your own writing, isn't it? Thumbs up if you've ever had it be really hard when you're trying to reread your own story. It's a little frustrating, right? And pretty soon you're going to want to share your stories with other people. You're going to want to have other people read them. And the same thing's going to happen to them. It might be really hard for them to read your words. They'll be reading along, so excited to know what happens next, and then they won't be able to make out the words. They might go, what is that word? When words are hard to read, it's often because we have the beginning and the ending sound in our word, but we've missed the middle sounds. And the middle sounds are really important for being able to figure out what your word is. So today I want to teach you that when you write a word that you don't just know, there's a lot of words we just know, like we know the word and or the word the or the word like. But I want to teach you that when you want to write a word that you don't just know, you've got to work hard to hear and write all the sounds. You need to say the word, slide your finger under the word as you're saying it and writing it. You need to hear the first sound and write it down. Read that sound and then go back, slide your finger under that letter that you wrote, say the word again and write the next sound that you hear. Then start at the beginning of the word, read all the sounds you wrote, and then say the next sound and write the next sound that you hear. And you keep going until you've got all the sounds. I want to share with you a story that I was working on last night. What we're going to do this week is you're going to pick a new idea off of your idea chart. And then you're going to say the story over your fingers. Say all of the details over your fingers, what your story is going to be about. So I picked a story about when I went whale watching for the first time. And when I went whale watching for the first time, I went whale watching in the Monterey Bay. I had never, ever been before. So I was really excited to go. I went on my friend's boat in Monterey. And when we were there, at first we didn't see anything, but then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we saw these huge pods of dolphins, and there were many dolphins jumping up at the same time. And then towards the end of the day, we saw a sunfish, and the only other time I've seen a sunfish is at the aquarium. We saw a sunfish bobbing up and down next to the boat, and it was really exciting. I've never seen one in the wild. So I picked my idea about whale watching. I told my story over my fingers. And now I want to show you my sketch and the words I have written so far. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you. Okay, so I sketched out the 3 things I told you about. Here's the boat going whale watching because I didn't want to forget last night as I was thinking about my story, my 3 things. Then I had dolphins, the pod of dolphins going by. That was the first thing I saw in the ocean. And at the end of the day, we saw sunfish bobbing along next to the boat. So I said my story over my fingers, and then I sketched a picture on each page so I know what my words are going to be about. And then I started writing my story, but I didn't finish it yet. Let's read what I wrote. One sunny day, my family and I went whale watching with our friends on their boat in the Monterey Bay. It was my first time going whale watching. I need to add a sentence. I was so excited. And I'm going to put an exciting exclamation point there because that was super exciting for me. Here's my picture of the dolphins. For a while, we didn't see any animals. Then, I know what I want to write. I want to say all of a sudden, all of sudden's a hard word. Okay, let's practice that strategy we just talked about. Let's say our hard word. My hard word is sudden. Sudden. I'm even going to practice clapping it out like we do in class. D, N, sudden. Okay, now I'm gonna write the first sound that I hear. I'm gonna go back and say that sound. And now I'm gonna say the next sound. Write it down. Sud. if you forget the word you were trying to write, look away from your letters for a moment and just think about what you're trying to say. Then all of a sudden, 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 sudden. I got them all. I got all the sounds. I went and kept sliding my finger under the word, saying the word until I have every single sound. Then all of a sudden, we saw a pod of dolphins. All dolph. I know that PH makes an F sound. Dolphins. And I'm going to put an exciting exclamation point there. There were so many dolphins that that I could not count them. I'm going to finish my story, and I want you to go ahead and get your Red Writers Workshop folder out, and I want you to start working on your story, remembering to say your word, point to the first sound that you write. Then don't just skip to the end of the word. Remember to say your word slowly. Write the next sound that you hear. Go back, read your word. Read it. Say the next sound, write it. Go back, read it. Say the next sound, write it. And I can't wait to hear your stories on Friday.